Well, greetings to you. Excuse my slightly déshabillé appearance. It's a bank holiday. It's a very sunny bank holiday, and I'm looking forward in a minute to going outside and sitting by our Olympic-sized pool, which of course will be freezing because we've had no real sun now for several weeks. I thought I'd like to share something with you. Yesterday, day before yesterday, no, Saturday, bank holiday Saturday, I had a speaking engagement in Somerset. So I had to get the train all the way down and all the way back, which was 4 hours down and 4 hours back. So it was 8 hours on the train, which is, not very good on a hot, sticky day, and it was pretty sticky. On the Saturday, when I got my train, my local train, which I get when I go to London quite often, it's Hull Trains, and I got in at Howden. It left on time. We got to King's Cross on time. And as always, the staff on Hull Trains are really friendly and helpful all the way, really nice. And of course, I see them a bit, not as much as I used to see them, but it's always nice to see them. Very efficient little train service. It goes to King's Cross, and I got on the connection to Paddington to go on to Somerset. And I got the tube. I got on the tube at King's Cross. And I was strap hanging, and I'm pretty fit for my age, and so there we are. But a man of my own age offered me his seat, which was slightly bewildering. Anyway, he wouldn't take no for an answer. It turned out he was Polish, and I know because I married a Pole. So he was really, really nice guy, and wouldn't take no for an answer. So I had to sit down, so I got the seat. And then we got to Paddington, and I was boarding the Great Western Railway train, which left wonderfully bang on time, but there was a points failure fairly close to North London, and so the train was delayed. But the train manager at GWR was really, really good and helpful. He kept us informed every step of the way, and it wasn't one of those train journeys where nobody tells you what's going on. You wonder the hell why you've stopped for hours on end. And he kept us right up to speed. And we got to Bath Spa, and I got off the train, and my lift was waiting for me. So I was 40 minutes late. Not a word of recrimination, not a word of complaint. Just wonderful British stoicism, and they took me to my speaking engagement. And then somebody volunteered to give me a drive back to Bath Spa, who turned out to be a vet. He was an army vet, second para. So we had a good old yarn about days of yesteryear, things like Exercise Crusader and Exercise Lionheart and various other bits and pieces. And we bemoaned as old soldiers will the state of the modern British Army. Moan. So we had a bit of a moan. Then I got my train back to Paddington on time, GWR, good train, very crowded, bank holiday, very sticky, but everybody's making the best of it, and that's also good. And we just pulled into Paddington, and I stood up to rescue my briefcase off at the rack, and there was a very young, very beautiful girl sitting just sort of behind where I'd been sitting, and I hadn't noticed her before because she was behind me, and she flashed me the most absolutely marvellous smile for an old geezer, and it certainly perked me up. And don't ever refuse old for dead. She was an absolutely bonny lassie, and I don't know where she's from. She was a bit of a tan, but she was charming. And then I got back to King's Cross to get my train north, and that was a London North East region, LNER. And that took me to Donny. That was the Doncaster train. And again, the staff, it was a Leeds train in point of fact, and they were going to disembark at Leeds. And we call them Weses in East Yorkshire. We call them Weses. And again, nothing was too much trouble. Nothing. This was packed. Every seat was taken. And it was a really, really, really crowded train and bank holiday weekend and all the stuff that you could imagine. And blow me down, nothing was too much trouble. Nothing was too much trouble for them. They were just charming. And I got my connection at Donny, and I was just about to get on the train when my blasted briefcase opened because I hadn't zipped it up properly. Oh, God, that is not the first time that's happened. Everything spilled onto the platform, and the train's sort of shortly to pull out. People sort of rushed in. 2 or 3 people came in immediately, helped me restock my briefcase with sort of pens and pencils and pads and so on and so forth. So quickly, just so helpful and nice. And then I got on the Rattler, we call the Rattler from Donny, which was, I think, Hull bound or something like that, or whatever. There were some soccer supporters on the train, quite a few soccer supporters, young soccer supporters in the main. They weren't from supporting the same club. They sort of foregathered at Donny, coming from all parts of the compass, as it were. They were boisterous, of course. There was no sense of trouble. There was no hint of trouble. They were just all friendly badinage and all the rest of it. Just youngsters full of life and going on somewhere. And I had a bit of banter with them. It was just so nice. And it made me think that old England, if you scrape the surface, is still there. It turned what could have been a really nasty experience, frankly, 8 hours on a train on a bank holiday on a sunny, sticky day. It turned it into a very nice experience. Which I thought would have been impossible in hindsight. And I sometimes wonder, with the threat to our way of life and the threat to our institutions that's happening now politically under both parties, whether or not in some funny way it's drawing us slightly together. It's drawing us slightly together in the same way that throughout the tragedy of the Second World War, it actually drew the nation together a little bit. And as many people say that we were never better. The British people were never better than in the last war because we had been brought together with a common foeman. And I wonder if that's something of that happening just at the moment. Let's hope so. But I thought I'd share that with you because it's not all doom and gloom. There's a lot of doom and gloom, and I know I'm responsible for recycling some of it. But that was a good experience. And I hope you enjoy those experiences as well, because I'm quite sure this is not just a local one-off thing. As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research-based, and I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I automatically share it with you. So surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.